Posto, per favore, per riprendere i nostri lavori di questa mattina. Prima di iniziare con la sessione di casi internazionali, ritorno un attimo su slide di Amal che ha presentato durante il suo intervento. Vi lascio ancora un secondo per sistemarvi. Ottimo, grazie. Allora, come ho detto, ritorno alla slide di Amal che ha presentato durante il suo intervento e che è il report che è uscito giusto questa mattina, e quindi ci fa molto piacere condividere con voi anche il QR code che vi porta alla versione inglese di questo policy paper. È uscito oggi, quindi voi siete i primi a leggerlo. Poi diamo ovviamente anche diffusione tramite i social dell'OECD, lo presenteremo anche al committee meeting di OECD, è già stato anche consultato dagli altri paesi esperti che partecipano ai lavori, ovviamente con Amal e Melis, su economia sociale. Versione inglese online, stiamo lavorando sulla traduzione in italiano e appena sarà disponibile la condivideremo con tutti voi. In questo report, e lo ha detto già Amal durante il suo intervento, non è un report, è un policy paper, quindi ovviamente ci sono policy recommendations e poi ci sono 3 capitoli. Uno di questi capitoli sono i casi internazionali. E invito allora il momento per proprio discutere questi casi internazionali. E siamo nella sessione Prospettive dal mondo, un dialogo internazionale, e sono 4 di questi casi, sono i casi che secondo noi sono molto interessanti per la cooperazione trentina, perché durante il workshop di foresight gestiti da Scopia, anche durante analisi che abbiamo fatto noi OCSE sui dati e databases sui trend, i megatrend menzionati da Amal, abbiamo identificato questi 4 transformational dimensions che Amal ha anche presentato, che sono anche in questo paper, e sulla base di questi 4 dimensions poi abbiamo presentato circa più di 20 casi internazionali da Corea del Sud, Spagna, Inghilterra, Italia e in particolare anche casi innovativi dal Trentino. Quindi per questa sessione invito su podio la mia collega Melis Aslan, che modererà questa sessione. Lei è analista politica della divisione occupazione locale e economia del Centro OCSE per imprenditorialità, le piccole e medie imprese, le regioni e le città. E con lei invito sul podio anche Jeon-gi Kim. Lei è la presidente della Federazione Cooperativa in Life Care di Corea del Sud. James Wright, responsabile politiche e sviluppo, Cooperatives UK di Regno Unito. José Pérez, vice direttore della Fondazione Espriu, Spagna. E Samuel Barco, esperto senior in ecosistemi di imprenditoria sociale, Spagna. Grazie.
Hello, buongiorno. This session will unfortunately be totally in English. We apologize, but the translators are doing a wonderful job. And I'm very happy to join you today to moderate this session. This is what we call the Eurovision, except it's beyond Europe and it's all the countries will get 12 points because we're going to hear from the countries on how the cooperative movement is developing in their own context. We heard in the previous sessions a lot about how cooperatives are navigating this rapidly changing environment, be it socially, environmentally, economically, technologically. And we heard a lot about how these changes, demographic shifts, digitalization, green transition, are reshaping how cooperatives operate. We heard a lot about this need to enhance territorial cohesion. And in fact, Amal and I, not less than 2 weeks ago, we were in Greece in the region of Epirus. It's in the border of Albania. And we were hearing pretty much the same things. Epirus is a mountainous region. There is a challenge around an aging population. There is a challenge around keeping young people in the region. That's why the conversations today are not only specific to Trentino, they make sense for a lot of other countries, which is why we wanted to have a session dedicated to different cases from the different countries. And today I have with me different representatives from the space, be it federations, apex bodies, foundations, research. So hopefully we'll have a good 1 hour and 15 minutes to discuss how what we've been talking about for Italy was experienced in their own context. So with that, without taking too much of your time, I would like to turn to Ms. Jung-hee Kim from the In Life Care Federation. And we saw that the iCoop, so the iCoop cooperative, it was founded in 1997 during a food safety crisis in Korea by a group of citizens seeking to access safe food, and now it's grown nationwide, expanding into multiple sectors. So could you please walk us through the evolution of iCoop and the Life Care Federation, please? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great honor to introduce iCoop Consumer Cooperatives. My name is Jung-hee Kim. I am the former chairperson of iCoop, and now I serve as the chairperson of In Life Care Cooperative Federation, which brings together iCoop, medical cooperatives, and farmer cooperatives. Today, I'd like to share how iCoop has grown from a small grassroots food movement into a national cooperative system, and how we are now transforming beyond food into health, hospitality, leisure, and sustainable living. iCoop mainly sells eco-friendly and organic foods, distributing safe and trustworthy products to consumers. In the past, iCoop mainly focused on primary agricultural products, but in recent years, it has developed and sold a wider range of products, including microplastic-free and non-GMO foods, to meet consumers' new demands for safer and more sustainable choices. iCoop is now one of the largest consumer cooperatives in South Korea, but its beginning was very humble. It was founded in 1997 during a time when Korean society faced serious food safety crisis and a growing distrust towards the industrial food system. It all began with just a few consumers who simply wanted safe food for their families. From that small group, a national network of local cooperatives was born, linking consumers and organic farmers. Over the years, iCoop built its own organic supply chain, including farms, processing facilities, logistics centers, and retail stores. iCoop operates 234 stores and 5 logistics centers nationwide, serving over 300,000 members across South Korea. Its total sales amount to 552 billion won, which is approximately 33 million euro. The membership share is about 60 euro, and members pay a monthly membership fee of around 15 euro. Non-members can also purchase products, but those who pay the members' fee can enjoy a wide range of exclusive benefits, such as saving points, free hotel stays, and free food vouchers. Currently, over 30% of all members choose to pay the members' fee. The core mission of iCoop is to create a sustainable food system that benefits both people and the planet. Through education programs, social campaign, and policy advocacy, we had helped expand South Korea's organic food culture. For example, thanks to the campaign, many local ordinances now encourage schools to serve organic meals. It was a remarkable achievement. In short, iCoop is more than a food retailer. It is a social movement for a better way of life. Our impact goes far beyond selling food. We focused on revitalizing local economies. For example, iCoop created 2 cooperative-based industrial cluster in rural area of South Korea, known as the Natural Dream Park. This park connects producers, consumers, and local communities through a wide range of facilities. iCoop has already completed 2 natural dream parks in Gure, Gwesan, and plans to build 2 more in the coming years. Its natural park is located in a quite rural area, integrating food production, accommodation, a hospital, cinema, library, business facility, and leisure activity into one place. As a result, these once isolated regions have become more vibrant and now attracting a growing number of visitors. Every year, around 200,000 people visit the park, which are recognized as a successful model for revitalizing rural areas in South Korea. Because regional decline is a major national issue, many local and central government officials visit the park to explore how this model could be applied in other provinces or towns. As you can see on the map, there are many facilities, including a cinema, sports center, sauna, and library. Members can stay at the hotel with their families for free, using accommodation vouchers provided by iCoop. Why? Simple. The longer they remain members, the greater the benefits they receive. This has always been a key factor in maintaining member loyalty and reducing cancellations. One of the core infrastructure of the Natural Dream Park is not only the food production facilities, but also cultural and public amenities such as library and a hospital. These facilities are designed not only for cooperative members visiting the parks, but also serves as important community infrastructures accessible to local residents in rural areas. The library hosts various international conferences and cultural events, while the hospital, with its 105 beds, is fully booked with a waiting list, reflecting its strong reputation and demand. Recently, we opened a new accommodation in Japan, allowing members to travel abroad using free voucher provided by iCoop. iCoop offers greater benefits for its members, but it is different from ordinary discount coupon, offered by competitors. It presents an invitation. The longer members stay with the cooperatives, the more reasonable they can enjoy meaningful experiences. Through these collective efforts, ICOOP is doing the best to create a better world. It is not enough though. Traditionally, ICOOP members joined the cooperatives with the desire to provide safe and clean food for their children, especially after childbirth. However, South Korea now has the lowest birth rate among OECD countries, leading to a slowdown in new memberships. At the same time, as the country enters a super-aged society, existing members are developing new needs and priorities. In response to these changing social conditions, ICOOP is involved beyond providing safe food to offer health and disease management service for its members. This transformation marks the beginning of a new social movement called the Life Care Movement. The Life Care Movement uses food and exercise to help prevent chronic diseases such as hypertension and hyperlipidemia. ICOOP continues to develop various member activities that encourage healthier lifestyle, better eating habits, and regular exercise. Traditional health care focuses on treating illness after it occurs, but life care starts before it begins. We believe true health comes from daily habit, how we eat and move. Therefore, ICOOP motivates members to improve their lifestyle habits, including diet and exercise. Through various programs such as diet challenge and hyperlipidemia management campaign. In terms of infrastructure, ICOOP has established 4 social medical cooperatives and several local clinics. In 2023, we also opened 105-bed hospitals, focusing on cancer recurrence prevention and integrative wellness. Currently, hospital accommodates terminal cancer patients, people who have no further treatment options in conventional hospitals and who now seek to manage their health through diet and exercise rather than chemotherapy. All rooms are private and patients can enjoy not only the hospital's facilities but also various amenities within the park, including the swimming pool and gym. Another key pillar of the life care movement is food. The various agriculture and food products sold by Natural Dream are rich in phytochemicals, which are known for their anti-cancer properties. To increase the phytochemical contents, various minerals are added to the soil, enhancing the nutritional quality of crops. Adequate fruit and vegetable intake is essential for preventing chronic disease, but due to lifestyle changes, vegetable consumption in Korea has been steadily declining. To address this, ICOOP has developed products that make it easier to consume vegetables, using locally grown Korean produce to support both health and local farmers. Just 2 packs a day provide a recommended daily intake of fruits and vegetables. In addition to agriculture and processed foods, one of ICOOP's most remarkable recent innovation is water. This product is made from deep ocean water, minimizing microplastic exposure, and packaged in paper carton. to reduce carbon emission compared to plastic bottles. It is also produced as OEM products featuring various designs, including collaboration with Blackpink. To summarize, iCook began with a simple desire for safe food, but today it represents something much larger of vision for caring, sustainable, and cooperative society. We truly believe that the cooperative model can change not only markets, but also the way that we live and care for one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kim. This was a very good starting point. Indeed, we see that cooperatives can actually be born out of the need to change, to adapt to change, to respond to crises. So it's not new to the cooperative world that there are changes all the time around them. So it was very good to see how they also touch upon every aspect of life. And with that, I would like to turn to James, UK, because we're quite interested in learning about how the cooperative movement has been evolving in the UK. If you can just let us know a bit about the evolution of the cooperatives. Sure. Thank you.
Buongiorno Trento. I'm going to say the rest in English, so apologies for that. I'm James Wright. I'm the Policy and Development Lead at Cooperatives UK, the National Trade Association for cooperative businesses in the UK. Rather than touch on a specific cooperative example, I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of how things currently look in the United Kingdom, and I've been asked to touch on a few key topics, so I'll do that as I go through. The starting point for me really is I think that we have a lot to learn from the rest of the world. I'm not coming here to tell you all the great things we're doing that you need to learn from us. I'm going to share, obviously, because it's about reciprocity, but we're here to learn, okay? What you've heard there in terms of what's going on in Korea, wow, okay. And also what I heard this morning in terms of what's going on in Trentino as well. Just the starting point really for us in the UK is that whilst there have been some really great things going on in the United Kingdom, it's been quite marginal. It's not been part of the mainstream, and overall I think the picture in terms of the UK sector, in terms of number of cooperative entities or in terms of our economic footprint, has been pretty static for some time. If you go beneath the surface a little bit, it is true that there are some growth trends. So there's been marked growth in, for example, in community cooperatives, in worker cooperatives and things like digital and creative, in the number of cooperatives operating within the sphere of housing. And if you take a step slightly outside of the core cooperative economy, and if you include the mutual economy as well, we have in the UK seen very, very dramatic increase in the number of employee-owned businesses in the UK, most of which probably at the moment wouldn't necessarily meet the criteria for being cooperative because they're not necessarily super democratic, but most of them are on a journey, and we've actually got a sense that over time a lot of them will adopt more democratic governance in terms of giving their employees more of a voice, and a lot of them will probably end up falling into the cooperative category. Slow down. Okay, apologies. Okay, apologies for that, everybody. Yes, so I think whilst overall relatively static, if you look a little bit beneath, there are some encouraging trends that we would like to build on. The big change that's happened in the UK in terms of our context in recent years has been the election of a UK government, which has a clear ambition to significantly grow our sector. It says it wants to double the size of the cooperative and mutual economy in the United Kingdom, address barriers like access to finance, and that is really, really exciting. But that's kind of led to people questioning, okay, what does this actually mean? Or what does double mean over what time scale? The government hasn't necessarily come forward with a definition of that, but the sector has spent a fair amount of time talking about what we think it could or should mean. We certainly think over a decade, with the right conditions in place, it would be possible to double the number of cooperative entities in the UK. Cooperatives are very, very rare in the United Kingdom. There's a strong rationale for increasing their number. But it can't just be about increasing the number of entities. It also needs to be about supporting new and existing cooperatives to thrive, to reach their potential. So we're also we should also be looking to create the conditions in which the economic footprint of cooperatives could significantly increase over time, measured perhaps by gross value added and by other things as well. We think there are a few key areas where this cooperative growth and impact could come from. First of all, community cooperation. As I said, there has been strong momentum in the formation and development of community cooperatives in the UK. This is community ownership of land, of assets, of housing. Some really interesting things going on in terms of innovation in that space, where existing community cooperatives who perhaps started with a specific project, perhaps to save a particular local asset, branch out and diversify into other areas. So, for example, a community cooperative that initially forms to save a local village pub, for example, it doesn't just stop there. It moves on to develop other local services with that community-owned asset as the kind of the platform for doing other things as well. Another example might be community energy, where a community cooperative is formed initially to deploy renewable energy infrastructure in an area, but they don't just stop with generation, they diversify into building retrofit, into developing low impact housing, etc. So I think one of the key things we have to understand is that this community cooperative trend in the United Kingdom has a lot of potential to diversify in different ways. Once communities relearn the skill of cooperation, the skill of doing things for themselves, I think that there are many, many local challenges that they'll realize that they can meet through cooperative practice. A second key area for us is everyday economy. And I think for me here, really, this is about the consumer cooperatives in the UK diversifying, investing in innovation, investing in tech in different ways, and branching out and developing new products, new services, getting into new markets. Food system is really important for us. We think that there's huge potential for agricultural cooperatives in the UK to play a much more significant role in UK farming than they do at present. There's a lot of focus in the UK now on things like food security, the sustainability of supply chains, a recognition that small family farmers, for example, are in real trouble in the UK, and that different forms of cooperation could be part of the solution there. Public service innovation, the public, politicians, a lot of people I think have grown increasingly concerned about the level of wealth extraction in the delivery of a lot of our public services. For example, social care. A lot of social care in the United Kingdom is provided by profiteering entities, for example, including private equity. There's a lot of political concern now about the extent of private equity domination in adult social care and children's social care. There are opportunities for cooperatives to provide a viable alternative, a delivery partner for the state in that area. And then the big opportunity for us in terms of infrastructure as well. And people don't normally think about cooperatives in terms of infrastructure, but for us, there are a few key areas here. One, housing. We think housing should be seen more of an infrastructure than in terms of an asset to be bought or sold. And there are huge opportunities, I think, for cooperatives to develop a more affordable, socially purposed housing in the United Kingdom. Obviously, things like renewable energy generation, retrofitting existing assets, also in areas like digital as well. There are huge potential for different entities within economies to come together to co-invest and share digital infrastructure, for example, fiber, broadband, potentially even things like data centers as well. We think there are some key enablers for this growth. One is access to finance, cooperative development, legislation, changes in tax. And there are three key pathways which we think we need to strengthen to really develop cooperative businesses in the UK. We need stronger pathways for startup and to not just increase the number of cooperatives, but high potential cooperatives. We also need stronger pathways that enable existing cooperatives to scale and reach their potential, and particularly in terms of being able to access finance. And we need to broaden the pathways for transitioning existing assets and businesses to the cooperative model as well. I've been asked to touch a little bit on how cooperation between cooperatives is going to play into this growth agenda. And for me, one of the key ones is in relation to access to finance. In the UK, we haven't been particularly good at developing specialist financing institutions for the cooperative sector. That's one of the things that we really want to learn from other countries. At the moment, we're exploring how we can spin out a project that we've had in Cooperatives UK to invest alongside community, to invest equity alongside communities through something called Community Shares Booster. We would like to spin that out as a a new institution owned and controlled by the cooperative sector to make those investments over the long term and to recycle that capital from cooperatives back into other cooperative ventures. And in that, we're very much inspired by institutions that we see in other parts of the world. On an operational front, there is some strong existing cooperation between cooperatives in areas like retail. So FRTS is a buying group of consumer retail cooperatives in the UK. CoTech is an example of worker cooperatives in the digital creative space coming together to joint deliver projects. SoundPound, bottom left there, is a new consortium of credit unions that's come together to reach new markets and to partner with the local state in interesting ways. And Mycelium Network is a new network of community cooperatives around the country who realize that on their own they can only do so much, but if they form a network of solidarity with other community cooperatives around the country, that they might be able to access finance, peer exchange, learning, share costs, etc., and just be more than the sum of their parts. I'm going to skip through that for time. In terms of how this cooperative growth agenda will play out locally, which is really, really important. There is an absolutely critical local dimension to growing the cooperative economy in the UK. I'm just going to focus on one particular area, which I think is an exemplar of how we would like this to play out. So traditionally, the UK has been very, very centralised in terms of its approach to economic development policy. And to be honest, over the last few years, I think our cooperative sector has become quite centralised as well. That is starting to change. There's a new process of devolving power to city regions in the United Kingdom, particularly in England, one of which is in the West Midlands, where over really the last decade, the West Midlands Authority has started to focus not just on growth, but on inclusive growth, and that's been really important, and that's been with a right-wing mayor and now with a Labour mayor as well. That idea of not just growth, but inclusive growth has been increasingly strong. The new mayor also has commitments to grow the cooperative and mutual economy locally as well. So we've been doing some work in the West Midlands, essentially working with the combined authority to pilot different approaches of supporting worker cooperative development, particularly in the creative industries, bringing together national experts, local cooperative development practitioners, working with people who are in the creative industry to develop deeper links with the potential entrepreneurs, the freelancers, etc., who might benefit from a cooperative model. And that's been really successful in piquing the interest of the policymakers and helping them to understand that this is something that they could invest in, that they could seriously work with. And it's the use of the local state, national partners like ourselves coming in, but also working very hard, very, very closely with local cooperative networks, in this case, Cooperative West Midlands, to develop hopefully over time, to develop a new regional ecosystem for cooperative development in the city region. Our long-term objective, as I say, is to develop a new support ecosystem in the region that is both based on local capacity, responding to local opportunities, but at the same time is drawing on the resources and the expertise of a national network to support cooperative development as well. I've been asked to touch a little bit on the work that we're doing in the United Kingdom relating to youth or young people. You could use those terms slightly interchangeably depending on what age groups you're actually talking about. Generally speaking, we are talking about people under the age of 30 as our focus. Cooperatives UK, we have a strategy to empower young people within the cooperative sector. So we have a young person champion who works full-time within Cooperatives UK, and we have a youth advisory group which is drawn from young people working in and around the cooperative sector. So this could be people who are already involved in youth projects in some consumer cooperatives. Some of the consumer cooperatives in the UK have their own specific programs to empower and elevate young people within their membership. For example, Cooperative Group has a member council, but it also has a young person's member council. And there are also some cooperatives that have emerged out of young people's activism as well. And we're bringing these people together into an advisory group. We've done some research to understand what are the concerns of younger people and how cooperatives could be presented as a solution to some of those challenges. There are some examples, I think, as well, where cooperatives offer solutions to particular things that are kind of relevant to people at the younger stage of their life. For example, bottom right there is a group of people who set up a music venue in South London, because grassroots music venues in the UK are dying, but there are still cultural scenes that people that need places to go in order to thrive, and the use of a cooperative model to develop their own infrastructure for their music scene is a viable solution to that. And that's just a way into providing a tangible solution to something that young people care about. And then we've made sure that our support is relevant to them and accessible to them. The other example there, top right, is a group of people who have formed a new approach to developing housing cooperatives, because one of the biggest concerns that young people have in the UK is relating to housing, particularly the way the private rental market operates. And these are people who have come together to develop a new model for helping groups of young people create their own housing cooperatives. Just a little bit more on housing before I close. The government has this ambition to create 1.5 million homes. The housing cooperative sector in the UK has an ambition for around 5% of that to be within cooperative or community-led housing. There are some really interesting innovations going on in the housing space in the UK at the moment. Top left there is New Ground Housing Cooperative in London, which is a co-housing cooperative by and for women over the age of 50. They've come together to create this cooperative because essentially the current housing market in the UK doesn't really provide good solutions for different groups in society, including people as they age who perhaps would like a combination of affordability, control, and some intentional community. So there's an example there of the cooperative model providing for that kind of very practical alternative. Top left there is a cooperative called Lilac Cooperative in Leeds. Again, it's a co-housing intentional community cooperative. The interesting innovation here is that over a period of time, people are able to build up a stock of equity in that cooperative that they can take away when they leave, which might allow them to get onto the traditional housing ladder whilst they're also renting. Bottom left is a different type of cooperative. It's a community cooperative where essentially people in a very deprived town in northwest England formed a community cooperative to essentially start buying up poor quality private rental housing, renovate it, improve its energy efficiency, and then put it back onto the local rental market on a not-for-profit, community-controlled basis. And then bottom right there, just to touch on them again, is this group have set up a cooperative incubator, I suppose you could call it, or facilitator called STED, which essentially is a kind of a hub which facilitates groups of young people around the country to form their own cooperative, but STED helps them raise the finance by being an intermediary between the cooperative and investors, and it helps them essentially overcome the challenges of accessing the finance, but also going through all those processes of understanding the model, how to put it together, how to get a mortgage, etc. So a facilitation model and a finance raising model, which also, because they're kind of tech nerds, essentially, it's all very much orientated around building a tech platform to enable that to happen. I think it's a really interesting intersection of young people coming to the model, coming with a sense of digital innovation, and very much addressing like a major societal challenge, in this case, housing. I'll leave it there. Sorry if I've gone over or was too fast.
Thank you very much, James. And I think I will pick up on your last point on the housing and this provision of essential services. And you've also mentioned the increasing privatization of public services as well. So we have today with us a good example of how to work with the public sector to deliver healthcare to around 1 million people from Spain. So Mr. Jose Perez, if you could let us know how this is possible and how the foundation was born. Thank you very much.
Well, buongiorno, sono lieto di essere qui, come il mio collega James. Questa è l'unica frase che posso dire in italiano. Quindi passerò all'inglese. Well, thank you for having me here at this wonderful province with such a rich cooperative heritage. It's a true honor for me to speak at this conference. And Today I would like to share the experience of Fundación Spriu and the network of health cooperatives it represents in Spain. Let me begin by explaining the origins and mission of Fundación Spriu. It was established in 1989 as a non-profit organization to promote and develop health cooperativism. It brings together a group of cooperatives that share a common goal, a clear common goal, to provide high-quality healthcare and also ensure fair working conditions for healthcare professionals. Then Spriu serves as the strategic hub of this network of health cooperatives, which was inspired by the vision of Dr. Josep Spriu, a pioneering physician who believed that medicine should be structured through democratic and participatory models, enabling patients and professionals to work together for the common good. Well, before I explain the activities and the impact of the Spriu network, let me begin by outlining its structure. It is made up by three main cooperatives. First, Autogestió Sanitària is a cooperative of doctors. Second, SCIAS, a consumers cooperative that owns a hospital in the city of Barcelona, the Hospital de Barcelona. And together with the doctors cooperative, they form what we call the Asistencia Sanitaria Group. And third, Lavinia is also a cooperative of doctors that owns an insurance company called Assisa and a network of hospitals, which is the HLA Hospital Group. And together, these cooperatives provide primary and specialized care, manage healthcare facilities, and offer health insurance through a cooperative model. And, well, you may think it seems a complex structure. Yes, it is. It's very complex, but it is the result of bottom-up evolution. And to understand it, we need to go back to Spain in the 50s, in the past century. At that time in Spain, the public health system was still underdeveloped, and many people relied on private insurance schemes to access healthcare. These schemes were costly for patients and often unsatisfactory for doctors. So, in 1857, Dr. Spriu founded Asistencia Sanitaria in Barcelona, in the city of Barcelona, as a medical insurance company, but owned by the doctors. And the objective was to guarantee the professional independence of doctors. This pioneering initiative later inspired the creation of Assisa in 1966, extending the model across Spain. However, Dr. Spriu was not entirely satisfied with the legal structure of the insurance company. And then, in the 70s, the model evolved with the creation of the three cooperatives I mentioned before that took over the companies and formalized the participation of both medical professionals and users in the governance of the whole health system. Finally, in 1989, these cooperatives joined forces to create the Fundación Spriu with the aim of promoting this model in other places. Also, Dr. Spriu has had an international vision that led him to promote the International Health Cooperative Organization, the IHCO, which today serves as the sectoral organization for health in the International Health Cooperative Organization. Today, Spriu provides healthcare access to more than 3.4 million people, roughly 7% of the Spanish population. And in 2024, the combined insurance premiums reached 1.77 billion euros. In the same year, the medical network performed more than 182,000 surgical interventions, treated 654,000 hospital emergencies in their own facilities. And the network currently comprises 19 hospitals, 40 clinics, and a broad range of partner institutions supported by 45,000 health professionals. But beyond these numbers, what truly distinguishes the Spriu model is what we call social medicine. It's a concept that seeks to balance efficiency with equality, with equity, and professional freedom with active participation of the patients, of the users. Let me now briefly explain the experience of Asistencia Sanitaria. As I say, it's a group that provides health insurance. They have been working in Barcelona for more than 60 years. But its structure is distinctive. It brings together two cooperatives, one of doctors and one of users. And together they represent probably the purest form of shared management. The Asistencia Sanitaria's mission has two main goals. Firstly, to address the healthcare needs of patients, but through solidarity-based premiums without penalties for age or for service usage. And secondly, to provide doctors and health professionals with an environment free from commercial pressures, where decisions are based solely on scientific evidence and medicine. It includes the Hospital of Barcelona, inaugurated in 1989, and it stands as a symbol of this shared management and the partnership between patients and professionals. It is owned by a consumers cooperative and operates under a democratic governance, which include both collectives and make decisions taking into account the needs of each collective. Well, Asistencia Sanitaria has the last decade invested in innovation and in new activities as telemedicine, as sports medicine centers, urgent trauma, elderly care, fertility, and some other specialties. Let's turn to the Asisa Group, which is owned by the Doctors Cooperative Lavinia. And this group, as I said before, combines health insurance and healthcare provision on a national scale. Its hospital network includes the HLA Hospital Group and also diversified with activities through several specialized networks. It includes ophthalmology, dental clinics, one of them very close of here in Milan, a network of diagnostic laboratories and other complementary healthcare services. In the insurance sector, OCSE has expanded recently to include life insurance, accident insurance, and also has invested in technology and digital transformation through a company which is Teach Consulting. And well, true to its cooperative values, OCSE is firmly committed to reinvestment. Every surplus is channeled back into improving patient care, modernizing facilities, and fostering professional development. And let me briefly describe some key features of our model, which we referred as social medicine. Since its earliest days, the cooperatives of the SPRIU network have been committed to working alongside with the public health system. We are convinced the health cooperatives can complement and can strengthen public services. And a key example of this collaboration is our agreement with the Spanish government, through which we provide healthcare coverage to public sector employees, members of the army, police, teachers, judicial officials. And we have been delivering healthcare services to public servants since 1976, making this one of the longest standing partnerships with the Spanish Public Health Administration. And this collaboration ensures efficiency, continuity, and high-quality care for, as our moderator said, for over 1 million people, and also helps to free up public resources in the health system to attend other collectives. Our commitment with the community was particularly evident during the most challenging moments of the COVID-19 pandemic, when all entities of the SPRIU network made their infrastructure and their resources available to health authorities, supporting the national response to that emergency. And for us, public-private collaboration is not merely a contractual arrangement. It is a strategic alliance that contributes to the sustainability of the national health system. Because healthcare is, after all, a collective endeavor, and it relies in solidarity, in complementarity, and collaboration. And cooperatives can play a key role in this shared social mission. Another defining pillar of the SPRIU model is its commitment to shared management, ensuring that all actors involved in healthcare play an active role in governance and decision-making. Doctors and patients are the two main stakeholders in any healthcare system. So when they share responsibility for governance and for strategic decisions, both groups benefit. This joint participation strengthens trust, enhances accountability, and ensures that services are better aligned with the real needs. One of the most emblematic examples I mentioned before is Hospital de Barcelona, jointly managed through an inter-cooperation agreement between a doctors' cooperative and a users' cooperative. This experience of the Hospital de Barcelona illustrates the broader vision of the SPRIU model, a healthcare system in which governance is participatory, management is balanced, and decision-making reflects the perspective of those who provide care and those who receive it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Jose. And maybe to complete our tour around the world, I'll give the floor to Samuel so he can talk a bit about other contexts, for example, in Latin America and Africa. And what we're trying to do here is to have a bit of an exchange of knowledge among each other. And maybe he's going to tell us also about this importance of sharing knowledge and capital among cooperatives. Thank you, Samuel.
I need to apologize because I won't be speaking English. I will try to speak in Italian if you don't care. Così anche i traduttori e gli interpreti possono riposarsi un po', ok? Innanzitutto grazie a tutti, grazie a quelli dell'OCSE a cui ci tengo tanto, che mi hanno invitato a venire un'altra volta a questa città che mi piace tantissimo. Oggi vedevo, l'ultima volta che c'ero era proprio in questi stessi giorni, 6 anni fa, prima del Covid. E poi cercherò, vedendo che siamo gli ultimi, sono fra voi e il cibo, dunque cercherò di fare più o meno in fretta. E poi cercherò di non andare fuori via, perché a me ogni tanto vedo, sono come i gatti, no? Vedi una luce e vai lì, la segui, meglio no. Vediamo, siamo in un momento di crisi, ok? È un momento di cambiamento, come abbiamo sentito oggi anche dal professor Belli. Questo momento ha parecchie aree di tensione, no? O di frattura anche, no? Tensione e frattura. Io vorrei concentrarmi su 2 e parlarvi, come ha detto la Caramellis, su esempi dell'Africa o dell'America Latina, che possono essere anche esempi di altri posti, no? Quali sono le aree di tensione su cui voglio concentrarmi? Una è il cambiamento politico, ne abbiamo parlato, della geopolitica, eccetera, e l'altro la crisi finanziaria, che forse non dovrei chiamarla una crisi finanziaria, perché alla fine è come un'accelerazione di una caratteristica di questo sistema, che è l'andamento man mano più rilevante della finanza dentro a tutta l'economia. La finanza, che doveva essere una parte e che doveva servire a un ruolo, comincia a essere il ruolo, comincia a essere l'obiettivo, comincia a essere anche il quadro di analisi dell'andamento dell'economia. Queste 2 tensioni portano ad esempio, per questi paesi dell'America o dell'Africa oppure dell'Asia, a ricevere meno attenzione politica, cioè capitale politico. Con la crisi loro basta semplicemente a pensare cosa è successo con USAID, no? Arriva Trump, niente soldi per loro, niente attenzione. E poi non è che gli diamo tanto pensiero anche a questa situazione, che è una situazione che sta andando man mano peggio, no? Però lasciamolo stare lì. E poi c'è anche la crisi finanziaria, o questo andamento nel quale la finanza diventa più rilevante, che fa sì che anche, non soltanto che con la crisi politica non ricevono soldi, cioè non è che USAID non gli dà soldi, ma che questa idea della centralità della finanza fa sì che, ad esempio, il prezzo del riso, anche se ce n'è riso abbastanza, attraverso i mercati dei futuri cambia, e loro cominciano ad avere problemi proprio per questa centralità della finanza. Cioè la finanza non è soltanto una scarsità, che loro ce l'hanno, ma è anche un elemento che distrugge il tessuto sociale, economico e politico in questi territori. Questo, dal punto di vista delle cooperative e dal punto di vista delle imprese di economia sociale, sta diventando anche un'opportunità In quale senso? Nel senso, allo stesso modo, come quando ci hanno spiegato come è nata la cooperazione qui in Trentino, è il senso della necessità. Queste organizzazioni che lavorano sul terreno cominciano ad avere problemi finanziari e cominciano a pensare come risolviamo questi problemi. Io vi parlerò di un esempio di un lavoro che sto facendo adesso con una organizzazione irlandese che lavora fra 15 e 20 paesi nei 3 continenti e che è uno dei campioni della localizzazione dell'aiuto. Dunque è uno che lavora con NGO locali a cercare che il massimo dell'aiuto finanziario che danno i paesi del nord arrivi proprio nelle loro mani. Okay? E lavorando con loro ha trovato che da questa necessità viene fuori che una soluzione può essere l'impresa sociale. Questa era la richiesta del Trocher. Come facciamo? È possibile? Eccetera, eccetera. Dunque, alla fine ce l'hanno fatta lavorare con me, o ce l'ho fatta io a lavorare con loro, non so poi se saranno così contenti alla fine, però insomma, ho cercato di dargli un cambiamento. E il cambiamento è basato su una ossessione che anche Melis conosce bene, del ruolo che gioca l'informazione nei processi di internazionalizzazione. Cioè, quando 2 entità si incontrano, scambiano informazioni. E questo è un processo di internazionalizzazione se siamo in paesi diversi. Okay? Questo è un qualcosa che abbiamo fissato sul lavoro che ha scritto Melis e un altro collega sull'internazionalizzazione delle imprese di economia sociale. Ebbene, questa informazione noi l'abbiamo voluto definire un po' più in dettaglio, la chiamiamo attivi intangibili. Attivi che per le nostre imprese sono di una importanza minore, cioè noi non prestiamo attenzione a questi attivi. Ok, e allora io con tutto questo ho detto, va bene, faccio il lavoro con voi, Trocher. E l'idea è analizzare come queste organizzazioni hanno una potenzialità basata sui loro attivi intangibili che, se mobilizzati adeguatamente, possono finire nella creazione di una impresa sociale che aiuti a questa NGO, oppure può finire che sono loro stesse che si trasformano in imprese sociali, che non sono più una NGO che riceve basicamente sovvenzioni, ma che ce la fa a diventare, come siamo noi, organizzazioni che mobilitiamo risorse di mercato e risorse di non mercato. Questa è l'idea. Ebbene, siccome voi volevate anche avere un'idea, e non voglio andare troppo a lungo, su qual è la spinta che adesso sta facendo che queste organizzazioni puntino in questo indirizzo, l'indirizzo di creare cooperative, di sostenere cooperative e di fare impresa sociale o impresa di economia sociale. In questo percorso abbiamo analizzato 8 organizzazioni in 4 paesi: Libano, Etiopia, Repubblica Democratica del Congo e Honduras. Fra tutte ce n'era soltanto una cooperativa. Il resto erano semplicemente associazioni. Ma voglio portare il caso di un'associazione che è un'associazione pastorale nell'Etiopia. Loro sono decisi di diventare un'impresa sociale, cioè restano un'associazione, ma creano un braccio che loro chiamano il nostro braccio economico che farà la commercializzazione. Il fatto è che loro lavorano con pastori e il fatto è che in Etiopia c'è un quadro legale favorevole alla creazione di cooperative, ma comunque loro non possono diventare una cooperativa. E per quale motivo loro stessi non possono diventare una cooperativa? Perché loro sono un'associazione che l'idea che ci hanno è aiutare alle comunità pastorali in parte del territorio dell'Etiopia. E dunque se loro stessi diventano una cooperativa, dovrebbe diventare una cooperativa di secondo livello almeno, cioè con le comunità locali. Va bene, però per noi non è un problema, nel senso che quello che stiamo proponendo è dire, noi ragazzi, non è che dovete essere una cooperativa, basta che siete una entità di economia sociale che percorre gli stessi principi delle cooperative. Poi c'è il caso di Combrifol in Honduras, che è veramente una cooperativa. Una cooperativa che è anche creata, legata alla Chiesa, perché Trocher è una NGO irlandese legata a Caritas e alla Chiesa irlandese. Ebbene, loro, e siccome voi siete interessati a come coinvolgere i giovani, no? Loro sono già una cooperativa con 25 anni di vita, che arriva a un 60% di fatturato attraverso la vendita dei loro prodotti, caffè, eccetera, eccetera. Inizialmente caffè, possono fare altre cose. Ma quando lo si domanda come fate per fare entrare giovani nella cooperativa? Come fate a convincere i giovani di entrare nella cooperativa? Qui non ci hanno dato una soluzione magica, nel senso noi cerchiamo di, mobilitare attraverso social media, eccetera, eccetera. Perché? Perché è una comunità in una zona piccola, povera dell'Honduras. Il problema è, noi siamo cooperative, come voi cooperative nel secolo XIX, come facciamo sì che loro si interessano? La necessità c'è, come c'era qui nel Trentino. L'unica cosa è che noi dobbiamo sapere qual è la necessità specifica dei giovani, che è diversa dalla necessità dei senior nel territorio. E allora gli diciamo, ok, io so che tu non puoi aspettare che tuo padre vada in un altro posto, sia contento fra gli angeli, eccetera, eccetera. Hai bisogno di avere una vita, forse sposarti, eccetera, eccetera. E non puoi nemmeno aspettare 5 anni a che il terreno che noi ti diamo, il terreno che tu potrai trovare, produca qualcosa. Se noi vogliamo avere il giovane, dobbiamo offrirgli qualcosa che produce entro un anno. Perché questa è la loro necessità. E allora hanno cercato di trovare posti che oramai producevano caffè, che producevano bene, e gli hanno detto, ok, voi coltivate questo. Ok? E questo è il senso, che mi sembra che è una, come dire, un advice, come si dice advice in italiano? Un consiglio, ecco, un consiglio mi sembra molto più semplice. E così per finire, spero di non aver parlato troppo, cerco di fare un piccolo pensiero su questo. Tutte e due le organizzazioni di cui ho parlato si mettono a pensare a fare qualcosa di economia sociale e cooperativa da un momento di necessità. Non da una coscienza teorica o accademica, come possiamo fare noi, come posso fare io, ma sì da una piena coscienza pratica, che però sa leggere l'esprit du temps, non so come si dice in italiano neanche, lo spirito del tempo, e risponde dal cooperativismo, dall'economia sociale, con una risposta che è più adeguata alla realtà. L'economia sociale non è una ricetta, l'economia sociale è anche una capacità di leggere l'economia, di vedere cos'è l'economia, che è molto più profonda di quella che ci dà l'economia mainstream o neoclassica. E con questo pensiero finisco, non ho fatto troppo, spero. Grazie.
Well, thank you, Samuel, and my dear panelists. We have the opportunity and curse to be the session just before lunch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you more than what was given in the previous session. Not 2-3 words, 2-3 minutes, but one round of questions. Because while I have you here with me, I would like to dig a bit deeper into how you read the economy from your sides, as Samuel said. So maybe I would like to revert back to Mrs. Kim. And if you could tell us from your perspective, what are the emerging challenges for your cooperative and how you're preparing to adapt to those? Thank you.
First, survival matters. If we do not survive, no matter how good our goals are, we cannot achieve them. This is why we decided to shift towards the life care model in a new environment. One of the biggest weaknesses of consumer cooperatives is that many members feel less and less connected to the cooperatives. That is why they built a hotel in Japan and created various members of facilities. We give our members clear, meaningful benefits so that without the cooperatives, their daily lives would feel less convenient. And at the center of this effort is life care movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kim. This was very well appreciated. So maybe I'll go to James, to the Cooperatives UK, since you work with a lot of different cooperatives from various sectors. Could you tell us a bit about their experience on how to accommodate digital transition and net zero transitions?
Yeah, certainly. I'm just going to talk about a couple of different types of cooperative, just to kind of bring it down to size a little bit. So consumer cooperatives in the UK are needing to make very, very significant investments in digital and in decarbonisation. Digital, because in order to stay relevant within consumer markets and stay competitive, they need to do that. Decarbonisation, because their members demand it of them. It's one of the key ways they can add social value as a business. They're really, I think, at the very limits of the investments they can make within the current constraints of how they can raise capital, and that's a real challenge for us. Like, in big investments in digital, big investment in decarbonisation is expensive. And the constraints in terms of cooperatives' ability to raise capital invest is becoming a significant challenge. Consumer cooperatives, but for all cooperatives, I would say. There are some examples where it has been successful, though. The Co-op Group in the UK has managed to make significant investments in e-commerce, so it's now one of the leading players in fast grocery delivery. For example, that's something which just happened in the last few years. A lot of the consumer cooperatives are wanting to work together on co-developing some digital infrastructure, particularly around data and things like that, recognizing that, as was said before, I think by Roberto, and it's really clear, like, tech needs to be governed, and they need to be adopting this tech and using this tech, AI, for example, but they need to be doing it in a way which fits with their social purpose. They need to find the right way to govern that tech, and that's probably something which they need to do collectively rather than as individual enterprises. Our role as Cooperatives UK is to try and support them to do that.
Okay, maybe I'll have also a similar question for SPRIU Foundation, because we know that sustainability and technology has quite a lot of impact in the healthcare sector too. So if you could tell us a bit more about how the foundation is adapting to digitalization and sustainability in your day-to-day operations. Thank you.
Well, digitalization, as you know, is critical to modern healthcare. It allows us to provide more efficient services and improve the management of healthcare facilities. And we have fully embraced this challenge, recognizing both opportunities but also responsibilities of digitalization. Digital health brings clear benefits, faster diagnostics, telemedicine, better management of patient data, but also presents challenges. For us, the rights of users are always the top priority. Digitalization must serve people, not the other way around. And this is why we carefully balance patients' rights with data needs of health insurance or healthcare providers. And to support this, we have established two companies whose sole purpose is to provide digital services to the SPRIU network. From these companies, they have created the Green Cube, which is a comprehensive digital platform for managing hospitals, for managing patients' information, clinical records. And well, originally it was designed for internal use, but now we are selling this product to other hospitals. So, well, we have a very well experience in how to digitalize the healthcare. And regarding sustainability, well, it is at the center of everything we do. As you may guess, sustainability in a hospital is a real challenge. Hospital is open 24 hours, 365 days a year. They have high energy demands, use a lot of water, generate substantial amount of waste and even dangerous materials. So managing these impacts requires first commitment and then innovation. And we focus on a clear line of action, becoming more energy efficient, reducing emissions, and applying circular economy principle to all processes. I can say that today we are nearly 100% our energy comes from renewable sources, and then we complement this with implementing some actions, day-to-day actions, like installing charging points for electric vehicles or centralizing procurement to reduce transport, reusing cardboard or converting used oils into biodiesel, etc. And also in our hospitals, we have implemented an innovative solution, which is called Neptune 3. It is a system used in operating theaters that safely collects and manage surgical fluids, reduce the use of disposable plastics, and helps to centralize the hospital waste and recycle all these materials. Other initiatives we have implemented include aerothermal heating systems, replacing fossil fuel boilers, photovoltaic panels in the roof of the hospitals. And well, also, what is important for us is to monitor all these processes and to keep track of electricity, of gas, and water consumption in all centers. So for us, sustainability is not a separate project, and it is integrated in every decision and every process. Thank you.
Thank you. And indeed, all these initiatives around accommodating digitalization and sustainability, they require a lot of human capital and funding as well. So I will have the easiest question for you, Samuel. Because you've mentioned access to funding is a common challenge for cooperatives, this is a question we hear in every panel, meeting, discussion, so I'm hoping you have the magic answer. How do we fund all this good work? And joking aside, what are the financing options and modalities that you have seen in your experience to be more effective, especially for new and small cooperatives?
Okay, easy question. Well, there is no magic solution to that, but it brings me back to 6 years ago when we were discussing with Ricardo and Gianluca financial mechanism for social and solidarity economy. The idea is that social and solidarity economy organizations find access to capital. The problem that we are facing is that there is some types of capital that we are not finding, okay? So we are missing what it could be the quasi-equity type of capital. There is credit, okay? But that's, or microcredit, but that's not enough to address the challenges that we are talking about. We are talking about real challenges, increasingly relevant challenges, I may say. The problem now is how can we create those kind of mechanism or of tools of quasi-equity and make them accessible. This is even difficult for our countries. It's not that common, not even in Spain, okay? But how can we make this accessible for those countries? One of the first things, and there is some hope in there, is the recently published document by the UN Task Force on Social Finance, which is highlighting that there is a bias in the market that we need to be aware of. When I have the bad chance of having to engage with multilateral banks, and the problem is that they don't understand, okay? They do not understand when, and they try to bring their metrics, so they're trying to bring their framework of analysis, their understanding of risk to the table. And that is a problem. We had just one piece there, which is a really good piece of work, an initial piece of work that I've been funding, and I have to say that thanks to the Spanish ministry. So you will see the logo of the Spanish ministry there. That can be used by us, by all organizations with the capacity to advocate. And I'm looking at you, the OECD, but I'm looking also at the Federazione Trentina, and I'm looking also at the Korean that is now moving back into the side of the social economy, of the change in the election, the UK government. So we need to advocate, to be able to engage with those banks to start, if not dismantling, overcoming this strong bias. Because money there is. And if you look at the Social Economy Action Plan, InvestEU, there has been money available. But that money hasn't reached the quasi-equity type of capital for even our co-ops, which are solid. We had 100 years of a good management record, okay? So even in those conditions, we have not been able to convince the EIB, EBRD, etc., that they need to go beyond the not disrupting the commercial banks playing field, which is another way of saying, I'm not gonna go beyond that strong obstacle that is there as a bias in the system. So I don't know if I answered the question, but...
Yes, indeed. And as the OECD, we're also trying to propagate this understanding of the social economy. All of us in the room are quite familiar with cooperatives and social economy, but in a lot of countries, even where there are framework laws, where there are registers of social economy, there is still very limited recognition of the space, and it obviously trickles down to having challenges in access to markets and finance. But hopefully in today's session, to end on a positive note, we had the chance to hear that the cooperatives, whether they're in Korea, UK, Spain, Latin America, or Africa, or in Italy, they are faced with similar challenges, and they are at the very heart of adapting and innovating to respond to these challenges, and they emerge where there are local needs. So thank you all for being with us today and sharing your stories. Hopefully our audience has taken some inspiration to take back to their work or to conversations over lunch. Thank you very much.
Ok, allora il nostro panel adesso prende la foto. Miss Kim, I will ask you to take a picture, the group picture now. E io faccio una informazione, vi do una informazione tecnica. Adesso avremo pranzo allo stesso posto giù dove siamo stati per il coffee break. Vorremmo iniziare alle 2:10 i lavori. Vi chiedo gentilmente stare qua seduti alle 2:10 al vostro posto, e vi chiedo anche, perché dobbiamo preparare questa sala per i lavori di gruppo, potete lasciare le cose vostre sulle sedie sotto il tavolo, però di liberare dalle cose, cioè liberare i tavoli. E bicchieri lasciate lì, li portiamo via noi, però i vostri oggetti personali li potete lasciare nelle borse o sulle sedie. Alle 2:10 lo stesso posto. Grazie.